I quoted from the E. Cummings poem yesterday. If you were here tonight, but it's the beginning line of a poem where it says, "Love's function is to fabricate unknowingness." And this morning when I found myself thinking about Zen mind, beginner's mind, which was very much a sort of seminal, still is in a way though, not quite as much, book for me. I think it was the well, I don't know what did I think it was. Anyway, for many years that book, when I always, whenever I was on retreat, either leading retreats or on retreat, I'd always have that book with me. And I suppose the whole clues the book's in the title, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, yeah, where he's trying to encourage us to keep a beginner's mind. This is a mind that doesn't quite know anything. Yeah, it's open. It's open to anything. You know, it's open to experience. So once we start getting ideas about experience, of course, we become less open to it. And of course, in our daily lives, I guess we need some sort of idea about what's going on, don't we? That's fair enough, isn't it? But he's particularly talking about meditation, and I suppose meditation perhaps provides the opportunity for us to soften or let go of our ideas about ourselves, our ideas about other people, our political ideas. It's just, it's not that we have to abandon them in the rest of our life. It's just that meditation provides an opportunity for something else to happen, doesn't it? So the question becomes, how do we meditate without having kind of rigid ideas about what should be happening, what we should be experiencing, what's good, what's bad? You know, how do we let go of this kind of structure of ideas that we all have, this sort of ego structure in a way? How do we let go of that and just become open to our experience, our direct experience as it arises, as it presents itself to us, as it were? So I wanted to say just a little bit about the kind of fundamentals of meditation as I understand them. Of course, these are ideas as well, aren't they? And I'm not suggesting they're necessarily right. I don't know if right comes into it. I suppose it's whether they're kind of useful or not for you, and you have to make your own judgment about that. Yeah, I think most fundamentally, what I'm going to say is quite very basic, really. What I want to say is that perhaps the first thing is to have a sense of what it is, what how can I put this? Okay, I'll just put it in a very simple way. Like, we meditate with the whole of our body. Yeah, so meditation is a full-bodied practice. This isn't body as opposed to mind, because there is no whatever we do, meditation involves mind, because it involves awareness. But we're trying to kind of break down that dichotomy, really. There's not really a body and a mind, is there? Experientially, there's not a body and a mind. That's just the mind body, isn't there? Or body mind, or heart mind, whatever you want. We've got to find something. So why I'm saying this is that I think the most common problem people have with meditation is they think it's something to do with fixing their head, fixing their thoughts, yeah, sort of fixing themselves in a way. I think it's more useful if we understand meditation as something we're doing with the whole of our body, yeah, all of us, really. It's just a way of speaking, isn't it? I was saying this the other day, when I say body, I don't particularly mean your physical body. I'm not saying it's like, although I do mean your physical body, but not exclusively. So we can talk about our energetic body or our emotional body, our psychic body, things like this. So it's just we're trying not to. Okay, let's come at it a different way, which is how I started really, is that meditation offers us an opportunity to do something a little bit different than our normal way of being in the world. Of course, I can't second guess what your normal way of being in the world is, so I'm just talking about myself really, or I'm talking about what I see in modern culture, and we've now got a culture that's very kind of regimented in a sense that time-wise it's become. We take this for granted. I find this quite interesting that these days we take for granted that um, we go to work for 8 hours a day, or we do this, we do that. It's all very kind of structured. This has become like this because it didn't used to be like this, and I think we forget this. It only really started becoming like that with industrialization, standardization of time, but also the movement from a more agricultural, agrarian society to a more industrial society. People used to still work, but they used to work when they needed to work, depending upon the seasons or the jobs they had. When someone made a whole thing, if you're a carriage maker, you made carriages or carts or whatever. You had a particular job, didn't you? And the completion of the job. These days, of course, I know we've got this kind of artisan thing coming back a bit, which is very nice as far as it goes. But the industrialized process made time the main kind of economic unit in a way. Well, we used to live in quite a different way. You did things when they needed doing, or when very often dependent upon the seasons. So the winter might have been a relatively, if you lived in our sort of climate anyway, the winter might have been quite a quiet time, You'd be, because they didn't have electric light and so well, anyway, you can make it. I mean, all I'm trying to get over here is the way we live now is very different from how people used to live. And this isn't just an external thing. Of course, it has an effect on us internally, the way we understand and structure time and space and activity. We can bring this into our meditation practices again. You know, we can bring the same attitude into our meditation practice, but as I'm saying, meditation perhaps gives you an opportunity to have a different experience, which isn't so dependent upon mechanical time, isn't dominated by the idea of doing something. You know, we're not really trying to do anything when we meditate. This I think is a very difficult thing for us in our culture. This idea that not doing anything is a precious, maybe a very important part. Just stopping. What is it we're stopping? We're kind of stopping. Well, we can put this in different ways. Ideally, most profoundly, we're kind of stopping the making of self, reinforcing our attitudes or ideas about being a fixed or bounded self. And we're trying to relax into some other experience of who and what we are. Yeah. I've been trying to suggest that one of the very simple means open to us is just paying more attention to the paying more attention to the other aspects of our experience that tend to get ignored. You know, and it's more like this background or foundational experience that is so ubiquitous that we forget to notice it anymore. I mean, the prime example of this is just the breath. You know, most of the time we're not aware of our breath. It's not necessary to be aware of our breath as it is. If we had to think about breathing, and it's not that I'm suggesting I want you to think about breathing in and breathing out. What I'm suggesting is that we experience what it actually feels like to breathe in and breathe out. Yeah. What does it actually feel like to breathe? Not an idea about breathing, but an experience of breathing, an embodied experience of breathing that brings us into a different relationship, a felt relationship rather than an idea about who we are. Yeah. Just having a little pause there and wondering what I'm just noticing what it is feeling like for me now as I'm sitting here breathing. When we meditate, we're trying to give ourselves the opportunity to have a different experience. We're not trying to sort of battle with our thoughts, you know. That's always going to be a losing battle, I think. You know, kind of if we're giving it's kind of like a negative attention, isn't it? What we're trying to do is to sort of allow our awareness to open up into a more embodied, a more relational experience. You know, we're not trying to have an argument or a discussion or a battle with our. I keep hesitating because I'm very aware of how these words are so kind of loaded already, aren't they? I'm going to say our mind, but it's not our mind, is it? It's our conscious in a dialogue in a way, or we're trying to kind of change that dialogue. We're trying to hear a different voice in a way. Yeah. I was suggesting yesterday that our heart, for instance, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your heart. It could be any part of your body. Again, not to be taken literally, is it? You know, but though there is some evidence that the heart might have a kind of separate consciousness in some sense of that word, but let's not go there at the moment. As might our guts. These are the people are starting to talk about three brains, aren't they? You know, your gut, your heart, and your mind. Which anyway, I won't go down that road today because it's too early in the morning, but for me. But we're trying to. What's it saying? We're trying to. Mm, I'm very aware that I'm allowing myself to struggle with trying to express what meditation is, because there isn't really such a thing as meditation. You know? Outside of your experience, it doesn't exist as a thing, does it, outside of the individual practice of it, you know? And there's no real. What did the Buddha say? He said, you know, he said that all his teaching had the same taste, and the taste of just as a great ocean had a taste of salt. So all his teachings had the taste of freedom. Okay, so there's something about meditation that calls us towards an openness, yeah, an opening or a blossoming, or we're called to kind of trust something, aren't we? Trust our own experience, not trust it as right or wrong, but just really attend to what's given, you know. This is a kind of radical relaxation in a way, a kind of radical letting go into what you really are. It's not really I don't think this should be understood psychologically even, you know. Of course it's got psychological aspects, but it's more or less that there's some kind of foundational experience that we can have through meditation, which hasn't really got much to do with our personal psychology. It's got something more to do with the energetics of being a living thing in the world, yeah, and the actual nature of consciousness itself, awareness itself, heart, mind itself. What is it? I'm quite I'm I'm sort of I was gonna say I'm not deliberately struggling here, but I'm quite happy to struggle with this as I speak to you because I can't I was going to say, well, I don't understand. You know, what do I mean when I said I don't understand? I can't put it in a neat package for you. Like, well, we've got these techniques, haven't we? These techniques are quite useful, whether it's the mindfulness of breathing or the metta bhavana, but they're just a kind of technique that's trying to create the conditions for meditation to happen. Meditation itself is not a technique, you know. Meditation itself, so far as we can talk in this way, and I'm not sure that we can talk in this way, but well, we can, and I'm trying to, but is an experience of being within the world, yeah. What's it really feel like to be in the world, and what's being expressed through your being? At the heart of this somehow is love, isn't it? Love in the sense, again, love in the sense of a kind of opening, a cherishing of life itself, you as life itself, you know, some kind of cherishing of that, I think, some kind of deep relaxing into not your opinions, not even your kind of psychology, but something more fundamental than that, you know, that your connectedness, I suppose, that meaning somehow is relational. Things become themselves because they're in relation to other things. You know? They don't have a separate, independent existence. You don't have a separate, independent existence. You have an existence, don't you? But you have an existence in this intricate fabric of life, reality, whatever you want to call it. And maybe this is what meditation most deeply offers us, is some direct experience of this that can never be kind of fully cognized. It's very difficult, this, because I suppose I want to encourage you not to know, you know, not to have a fixed idea about why you're meditating or what should happen when you're meditating or who you are. Yeah. Not that I want you to walk, you know, live your. I want meditation to be something different for you. Yeah. When you meditate, it's something different. You're giving yourself a chance to have a new experience, a different experience. Not that it's better or worse than your normal experience when you're at work or in a relationship. it's just kind of different. And the difference is that we let something fall open in a way. We let go. I think I quite often come back to this sense of how we hold on all the time. Hold on, don't we? What is this holding on? And what happens if we stop holding on? And we try and one approach to this release is the idea of just aligning ourselves. It's a kind of energetic, physical alignment, which allows everything to move freely. So, what does Padmasambhava say, doesn't he? He says, don't accept, don't reject, doesn't he? Don't accept, don't reject. So it's this middle way. Buddhism's this middle way, isn't it? We don't accept things, we don't reject things. This is a very difficult thing for us to do. Yeah. This is kind of because it's a not doing rather than a doing, isn't it? I hope this isn't all too esoteric. Eh? Who knows? Mm. We come into a world, don't we? And we have to construct a kind of framework, don't we, to make sense of it. I think you see this in young children, don't you? If you've had children, you see how they slowly, they're kind of babies, they're just kind of completely open, aren't they? For good or bad. It's sort of like energetically kind of completely open. Slowly, of course, we have to sort of give form to something. Yeah, give form to our lives, give it structure, give it some kind of meaning that makes it possible for us to live in this world. When we meditate, we try and let go of all of that and just come back to what's given. Yeah. I think of it as a return sometimes to the sort of basic situation where we're not kind of asserting ourselves. We're not trying to control anything anymore. This release becomes possible through, this seems a bit hard to believe, but the release becomes possible because the structure is given by the posture. The posture is an alignment with things, yeah. Doesn't mean you've got to have some kind of perfect posture. That would be to misunderstand it. The posture is, we try and just allow the posture to express ourselves fully. Yeah. The posture really just really stands for a way of being present. Yeah. We're trying to be present in a particular way. When we meditate, we're trying to sort of let go of all our normal sense that we need to assert or be some. What are we trying to do? So this is what this is what happens if you've been teaching meditation for 35 years. You get to the point where you don't want a word that I keep using, doesn't it? I keep coming back to this keep coming back these days to this kind of basic words. One of the words I keep finding myself coming back to is this word intimacy, you know. But meditation is perhaps can be understood, approached through this idea of intimacy, wanting it in or taking care in a way. Taking care, just a willingness to experience what's there. And I don't mean this even psychologically, just a willingness to experience what's there, openness to what's there in any particular moment, not in order to construct some sort of another kind of system or another, but just in a moment, and it might be just a moment. We just get these little moments sometimes when we meditate, where something's dropped off, something's dropped away, and there's just this openness to our experience. Yeah. This happens when we relax. We kind of relax about ourselves. Of course, in the world, it's quite interesting and good to have an ambition, to want to do things, to want to be creative. All these things are very, very important. But there's something else as well, isn't there? There's some kind of just dropping all that and being with what's there, yeah, for that moment. And what's there might not be anything seemingly profound or deep. What's there is just the sensations in your body, isn't it? Your breath coming and going, whatever thoughts you're having. But just let them all be. And let them all be free in a way. Just have their own process. We stop trying to control things. This sort of desperate need to control or fix. And of course we've got a life to lead, and we've got a life to lead that should be active and should be motivated by positive values. Of course, all of this is very, very true and very important. But that's not what we're doing when we're meditating. Somehow meditation is kind of this refreshment of something underlying, which is it's just an experience of what's happening in that particular moment. This is Dojin says, doesn't he, the great Zen, Japanese Zen master. You know, he says to study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be illumined by the myriad of things. I love that. Yeah. Somehow we're just open to everything as it's happening fully, without any attempt to control that experience, or any attempt to appropriate that experience. It's just happening, isn't it? You know, your house is happening around you, the air is happening around you, the trees are happening around you, this myriad of things, it's all happening. And somehow when we open to all of that, we're just happening with it all. We're all happening together in a moment. Everything's happening together in this moment. It's just a little, we rest for a moment, we just rest in how things are. Most of the time in our lives, we're not doing that, and that's fine. I'm not suggesting we should be doing that all the time. I'm just suggesting that we're trying to do something a little bit different when we meditate. We're not just trying to be have an improved experience. Yeah, we're not trying to make ourselves better. We're trying to have an experience which is somehow more fundamental, or got something more to do with the granularity of reality itself. Okay, we'll leave it there. You could I'll give myself a headache. Okay, now we'll do some meditation then, eh? Right. Okay. So get yourselves comfortable. Yeah. Maybe take one or two slightly deeper breaths in through the nose. Have a sense of where you are. We never meditate in a kind of abstract white room, do we? Well, maybe you are in a white room, but you know what I mean. We have some sense of where we actually are. Some sense of a space we're taking up in the space we are in, as it were, the room. So the posture is trying to provide us with a structure in which we can relax within, as it were. It's just Just pay a little bit of attention to your face. It's sort of quite a good place to start, or I don't know, start, include just your face, this sense of seeing if you can let your face soften. There's a kind of intricate sort of muscular structure in the face, isn't there? So along with incredible sensitivity. So one of the places in the body which gives you a kind of access to a kind of more energetic experience of yourself. If we can get some connection between the heart and the face, sort of a connection that needs to go through the throat, isn't it, as well? So might sound a bit bonkers, but actually, if you think of a young child, for instance, when it's toddlers, when they're happy or when they're sad, it's directly expressed in the face, isn't it? We learn to control our face. An interesting sort of aside. It's kind of interesting for me these days. That's more, but when people are born blind, they have to be kind of, well, they don't have to be, but have to be sort of tutored in controlling their face because they're not getting that reflected back to them. They can't see. So they tend to keep, pull expressions that seem quite grotesque to sighted people. That's sort of tutored in, because that connection is kept. There's this connection. When we meditate, I'm not encouraging you to pull grotesque expressions. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just encouraging you to let be a connection, a felt connection between what I'm calling heart. We're just using it with thought of trusting this sort of the language, aren't we? This sort of poetic language, which has a certain reality to it, a certain meaning to it. So we've got this association of the heart and emotion and love and feeling. So we sort of take that on board and we try and activate that location just by being aware of the heart area and the lungs. There's this sense in which we've been doing quite a lot of work through mantra on this retreat, trying to sort of open up the throat a little bit. There's a kind of connection, isn't there? Where does this connection gets broken somewhere for most of us to some degree or other, between the face and the heart. Trying to just if we can get a sort of felt connection between heart through the throat to the face. Think of your body as a kind of landscape or territory or country. Just bringing, just allowing the different parts of our body to become enlivened through awareness. So the awareness is not an awareness that's coming from the head down, but an awareness that emulates from the heart itself or the throat itself. What does the heart feel like? Not what do we think about the heart, but what does the heart feel like? What does the throat feel like? When I say feel like, how does it imagine? How does your throat imagine? How does your heart imagine? What's its relationship with the world? Don't worry about this language too much, you know. Stop making sense, as David Byrne says. Below the heart is the solar plexus, diaphragm there. This is quite often seems to be a cutout point as well. That there's a sort of, this is a throat can be a bit of a cut between head and heart. It seems that this diaphragm now will be cut between sort of heart and gut, or what's down there, what's down in the belly. You breathe in and out. So we're just seeing if we can get our awareness in different regions of our body. The front of the body, isn't there? And there's the back of the body, the back of the heart, the back of the throat, back of the head. To the guts of it all, where things get digested, isn't it? Broken down, incorporated, evacuated. Sort of processing in a very literal, material way, but maybe also in a kind of psychic way down there. What is it? If we're meditating and none of it, you know, the only bit that's engaged is sort of the higher regions, the sort of head. What's going on? We want to meditate with all of us, all of us. Down through the gut, the genitals, the sexual area, this kind of energetic area, this neurotic, again, another imaginal way of imagining, another way of being in the world. Down to the root, perineum, just using the breath is always the sort of main support, really, because it naturally wants to activate the whole body. Yeah. And you breathe in, just notice how the breath ripples. Actually, how the body kind of ripples to allow the breath, muscularly, energetically. The in-breath comes right up. We draw down from the nostrils. There's this energy coming right up from root. Physical kind of ripple or wave that's coming up in the opposite direction from where the breath is coming down. Maybe you can feel what I mean now. So we draw up from the root right up to the crown, quite naturally as we breathe in. Quite subtle. And as we breathe out, we release in our crown right down to root. We've got this whole wave or ripple or undulation, energetic movement right through the whole core of us as we breathe in and out. We're bringing the whole of us into experience as we breathe in and out. What happens when we start getting these different parts of us in relationship with each other? Release the legs. It's always important to try and release your legs, or just let them relax as much as possible. Get them breathing as well. So what happens if we start to understand, or understand is the wrong word, if we start to allow ourselves to experience our being as energetic rather than intellectual? Our being isn't an idea, is it? It's a rippling, breathing, organic, digesting, circulating body, held in the body of the world. It's not some idea you might have about yourself. It's a far more fundamental story, isn't it? Of exploding stars and metal and chemicals. And this mysterious spark of light. Something fundamental, ungraspable. Release them legs a bit more if you can. Give that weight up. You make a kind of commitment to not moving forwards or backwards, towards or away. Taking our feet, the central axis of the world for a moment, yeah. And everything is manifesting. All of you is manifesting. The room is manifesting. The world is manifesting. I'm not trying to figure anything out. I'm not trying to put anything right. Just opening into this moment. It's just a moment, complete in itself. And then there's just another moment, complete in itself. I'm not trying to grasp anything. We're not rejecting anything. Backbone. Plexus. The whole length of you. Highway of light. Everything connected from crown to root. The legs into the earth. You're plugging yourself into the earth. Opening up the crown to the sky. Resting in this moment of being. Porous to life itself, just open to being fixed or held. Relax your hands a little. So just noticing what's happening. And just let go of any idea of doing anything. Just notice what's arising, the world, the inner world, the outer world, the energetic, the mental, the emotional, all your senses, just what's arising, without holding on to any of that. Everything's arising, isn't it? Your body, your house, the world. Have to make sense of any of it. Just let it be. It's all got its own energy. Mountains are rising slowly. Station, section, all arising, everything. Some kind of space or other. Space itself arising. Relax your legs there. So just carefully in your own time, bring that to an end and just make a movement. Move to laying down, as we've been doing. Sure you're warm enough, reasonably comfortable. Try and do that as calmly as possible. You're not kind of disturbing yourself more than you have to make that transition. Thanks. Okay, so you're just trying to relax here, not just give yourself to the earth, as it were. If that idea works for you. It's gentle, pressure of the sky. maybe trying to stay aware of your breath as you move from laying down back to your sitting. I'm just trying to do this in a nice sort of relaxed, simple as possible, as it were. Don't disturb yourself unnecessarily. We're going to have a short, just sitting. So this sitting rather than practice. It's just what it says. We just establish the posture, which includes an awareness, a sort of simple awareness of the breath. We're not trying to get concentrated. We're just using the posture and the breath to be present, to stay present. Just so it's just enough there to be present. Alignment of the body and a gentle remembering, allowing the breath to remember us. That's to put us back together, isn't it? So by remembering the breath remembers us, puts us back together in the world. We just sit without trying to do anything really. The patient practice of just allowing things to settle. You know, it was just a short time, so just getting yourselves comfortable. So just noticing what's happening. Don't have to be judgmental about it. We're just noticing. You're thinking. If you're thinking, relax your legs. That will help. As we come to the end, let's just have a sense of sitting with other people. So a sense of opening up to sitting with others. Offering one another our love and solidarity. Being open to being supported by others in the world, as it were. Okay, so thank you for coming along and sitting with one another, and we'll see you later, hopefully. Nice break. If you can take it easy, do. The less you do, the better, really, in this little period. If you're trying to do a bit of practice, just try and do less is more in this context, at least. But if you've got things to do, well, just do them and relaxed way as possible. Feeling bad about having things to do, you know. Hopefully I'll see you later.